Hey, how's it going? It is currently 2 a.m. on Monday, May 13th. I just spent about a couple of hours writing a giant paste bin, link below the video, about this topic. And as you can see from the title, this might be a bit of a heavy one. I'm going to try and give basically a TLDR in this video, and you can explore the entire text yourself. I'm also going to do a live stream on this on Sunday or Saturday. I think Saturday, May 18th, 3:30 p.m. Eastern Time, where I'm basically just going to be opening up the floor to questions about any or all of these topics or anything related for the most part, and kind of clearing the air about commentary, my commentary, co-casters, pros versus amateurs, sponsored teams, that sort of thing. So, how'd this all start? Well, a friend of mine told me that he was getting some comments or a little bit of flack from viewers about how the commentary seemed, like a little bit pointed and we were being mean to other players on screen. And so I went into all this in the paste bin, which you can read, but for the most part, I mean, this is just kind of how I do commentary. I'm not trying to be mean. I feel like I'm fairly objective about it. If someone makes a mistake, I like to point it out. And for viewers, I think this is an important learning tool. Like, whether the player is a strong world-class expert who makes a minor blunder, maybe I'll blow it out of proportion a little bit. I think that's just my personality. I do sometimes like to exaggerate, but for the most part, I try and be fairly objective and say, like, here's the mistake, here's how this mistake happened, here's what the player might have been thinking, but here's like the flaw in the logic, this is the alternative, here's why this is correct, or here's why I think this is correct, or my co-casters do, and then kind of roll with it like that. It's supposed to be an educational experience for everyone. People are trying to learn, have fun. And so that takes me to the second point, which I think is that I'm also kind of streaming for fun, and it's for my audience. I'm not like streaming to the entire Bridge world. Things might be a little different if I'm contracting with BBO or Into Bridge or some other organization to put out content for their viewership, which is going to be much larger than my channel, at least for the time being, as we're recording this in mid 2024. So my channel likes to be entertained. I mean, I'm not just made up of a bunch of dull people who don't like to interact, then will just sit on and lurk in the chat. Everyone in Twitch likes to talk and have a good time and discuss the hands and give their own opinions. And so I try and focus on being entertaining a little bit as well, which means I'm not just going to sit here and in a very monotone voice tell you what I think the correct answer is to a problem. No, I'm going to get animated and yell into the microphone and scream and pull my hair out and a bunch of different things, make a bunch of hand motions to try and let you know that I think something insane is happening in front of us on screen, and then try and describe what it is that I think is going on. So that's what I like doing, and I have fun doing it, and so the hope is that the audience is entertained. Like, even if this might not be the most objective way to try and go about teaching someone or giving a little bit of constructive criticism, that's just what I do on my channel. Finally, I think one of the other big topics that I discussed in my paste bin, which again, make sure to take a look at if you do care, because there's a lot of stuff that I'm glossing over or just completely skipping in this, is the concept of pro players versus sponsors versus amateurs, sponsored teams, all of that sort of stuff. And I don't think that I have ever called out a pro player by name and said, this person's terrible, like, why are they a pro, like, who would ever hire them? Maybe it's possible that I've said something along those lines. Hopefully it was in a joking tone of voice, because sometimes I do that. I do emphasize the sarcasm a little bit. But I think a lot of the times I will say something like, wow, this player has made a really terrible play. Like, that's something that a novice would do. And I could easily see myself doing something like that. Not all pro players are experts. I mean, this shouldn't be a shocking fact. Like, there are pro players of all skill levels, and pros will bring different things to their teams. Most of them are pretty good bridge players, and the thing that they contribute to the team is that, like, they'll show up and they'll tend to get some pretty good results at the table. But not all pro players are like this. Some of them, do an excellent job in terms of team management. Some of them are just, like, fun to be around. And so if you're going to be spending 2 weeks in a remote location with a group of people, would you rather spend it with a bunch of introverts that really don't have any idea what fun is, or would you rather spend it with a bunch of enjoyable characters that like to go out drinking, have a good time, maybe see a show or something, depending on the tournament schedule or whatever, especially if you're playing six-handed, you and your partner might have a couple sets off. You're going to have like several hours to go and tour the city with this person. Depending on the sponsors' other commitments. So pro players have a lot of things that they bring to the team dynamic, and it's not always what they bring to the table. So if I say that someone is maybe a lesser skilled bridge player and they happen to be a pro, that doesn't necessarily mean that a sponsor wouldn't want to hire them for specific events. But anyway, I go into all of this in the document. There's a bunch of other things, and this is just a short summary. So check that out. Make sure to tune in to the stream on Saturday or maybe Sunday, depending on where you live. And if you have questions or you just want to find out what we're going to talk about, then let me know then.